Good evening. We're going to call this workshop to order for October 1, 2024. And this is a review of the budget, or kind of a workshop for the budget, if there's any questions or comments that we need to follow up on. So, Alan, unless you have some comment or an opening statement you'd like to make, we'll go to Christina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, after our conversation on Thursday or Friday, we just wanted to give the board an opportunity, just in case there are any last-minute questions, because what I would like to do is present this budget for approval on October 15th meeting. And I know Ms. Lisa had been out of town, and she did her homework, sent us questions, but I wanted to be able to give her an opportunity in person if she had any questions, or any other board members that had questions. So thought we would do a workshop just for that. So thank you, Mayor.
Perfect, thank you. So Christina?
Well, we've gone through the entirety of the budget, so we'll just open the floor for questions.
Perfect.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Lisa.
Since I was absent, I would kind of like to give some feedback of my own from watching the meeting and being involved in the first meeting. The first one is about employee raises. So at the first meeting, we discussed, and I asked a question about STEP programs. And I love that this board is looking at everybody and seeing how we can make sure that we don't lose employees, and we care enough about the employees that we want to keep them and at every level. And I started to ask the questions about the STEP program. And I'm familiar with the STEP program, and like you said, we've used it in the police department and the fire department, and it has helped with morale because it allows employees to know exactly, today I might be making this, but if I'm here in the future, I could make this, and then this, and then this. So it gives them something to look forward to on their own. When I worked for the city of Fayetteville, we had a STEP program, similar, it's kind of like a STEP program. And on top of that, I got COLA raises, and on top of that, I would get raises for when they would do studies. So I get what other directors are saying as far as employee pay. I think the only solution, and I've looked into it, the only solution is a STEP program, but a STEP program is a very costly endeavor to take on. And are we willing to bite that cost and give the employees that incentive, give them a STEP program? And I think that since it has been a topic of conversation, we need to discuss it. I don't know if we do that in executive as far as employee, how that affects. I don't know how that is, but I do think that we need to have a conversation regarding what do we want for employees. We can't just increase the bottom dollar, because that affects everything on the other side, and that would hurt the budget alone. So if you're going to do something, you want to do it wisely. And so if you're going to have a conversation, maybe the conversation should be about a STEP program. And that's my 2 cents on that. I'm willing to have conversations, but I'm okay with the budget. I'm glad employees are getting raises. I understand the company that did the pay study is a very knowledgeable company. They know what Johansson Group has been around a long time. They know what they're doing. I trust their opinion. I've worked with them in the past, and so I value what they had to say. And I understand, given the increases in 2 different years, it's not the ideal situation. The ideal situation is to do it in one budget, but because we have to be wise with our money, we did it in 2 budgets. And so I just think we need to have more conversations, but I think we still need to move forward. And the second thing is about and I really don't know what to say on this one, on the directors getting raises. I know Mayor Nation said that it didn't matter to her. I mean, she's not looking for a raise, and Director Hunt said she's not looking for a raise. And where I'm at on that, as a director, I'm not a director for the paycheck. I'm a director because I want to serve the citizens of Siloam Springs. And I do serve the citizens asylum. I've taken calls in the middle of the nights. I'm taking them while I'm at my nephew's football games. I've taken them, staff can tell you, I'm very involved in this community, and I really care about the citizens of our community, and I don't do it for a paycheck. I take every dime I make and give back to our community, either by giving back to the employees, giving to nonprofits, or helping people in other ways that, like utility bills and stuff like that. So for me, I don't see that I need a raise. I'm okay for us to vote on it. I don't know if it's still going to be moving forward or not, but I'm with Director Hunt that this is about serving the citizens. This position is about serving the citizens, being a voice for the citizens, and not the paycheck. So those are the two issues that during the budget we discussed, and I wanted to give my 2 cents on it, if that's okay.
Sure. Thank you, Lisa. And I'm assuming whatever you talk about, a conversation about and looking into the STEP program, you're talking for the future.
Yes.
Right, so that we
Yes.
get prepared for next year and be ready for something different maybe.
Yes, we need to have the conversation. I'm glad it's been brought up. I'm glad directors are having the discussion because it shows we care. We care about the citizens' money, and we also care about the employees and retaining employees.
Thank you. Anyone
for
else?
that.
Oh,
And-
yes, Alan.
That's something that, the staff and I will be happy to look into. It's something that we continue to look into. A lot of it is, when Christine and I sat down first looking through this budget, is trying to get a budget that's economically smart, because we don't know with inflation or what's going to happen the next few months. So we based it on that 3.3, and hopefully we're going to have a great year coming up, and good numbers will come in, and we'll be able to do more for the employees next year. But again, I so much research to do into STEP programs. I've done them before, but it locks you in, and if we ever have those times where things get really bad, we got to be locked in. So we got to have a plan that, hey, if it gets this bad,
Right.
do something.
That's why we need to have a discussion and not just, it's hard to do it at budget time and then hold budget. I mean, and we see it in the federal government where they end up, everybody's wondering, am I going, what's going to happen? Are we going to have a shutdown? And so I think we just need to at least have the conversation. And I think we need to brag about all the savings that will help pay for the raises, that will, when you have employees that go above and beyond, that are saving the city money, I don't see why employees shouldn't be getting raises.
And I appreciate that, and that's something, we're always looking to be better. And I don't have a problem. We'll do some research and look into that and get back with the board maybe later in the year. And when it comes to board raises, I know you've watched, the last meetings, and I just want to be very candid. Not a board member, a candidate, or anyone has ever said, hey, I wish you got more money. I think everybody running and serving does it because they love this city. But when I look at it, this board hasn't got a raise in over 20 years, somewhere in there, and people need second jobs and third jobs, and they're taking away from their family. And there's so many more requirements as the city grows. I think the last board meeting I got direction that we'll leave some of it in there, but I appreciate that. I just never been asked by anybody. This is just something, when I look at what the board makes and look at our future and attracting future candidates and board members, I want it to be an attractive seat. And most, I think everyone that runs just cares about this city. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Oh, anyone else? Well, I don't hear any other questions, Christina.
Madam Mayor,
So, yes.
then what I would like to do, if we have no questions, to go ahead and place this, we'll place this on the October 15th budget or agenda for budget to be approved. If there's no questions or conflicts, I think we've answered all the questions and the best to our ability. And still, if you have questions up to that time, please reach out. I think Ms. Christina received a question today or yesterday, and we've got that response back. We want you to have all the information as possible.
Mark, did you have?
There are a couple of board members here that I know are in fact wanting to discuss this step, and I think they were wanting to do it in a executive session. They're not here to ask for it, so I.
Can we
hesitate.
legally do that in executive? I wonder.
Anything
And it takes
personnel
months to
related.
implement something like that, even having a discussion on that. There's no way you could do it this year's budget.
I think they should be able to say their piece, whatever their piece is. They're not here to say it.
I agree.
And I think there's some interest in that. I don't care if we schedule it. I'm just saying, I don't know how they'll feel about it. And so there have been several things mentioned and challenged. Have you made changes to the budget, or is the budget stands the way you presented it?
I think just a couple things you want to pull out or stayed in, but as far as I know, the budget has stayed pretty much. I mean, again, when I have one board member say, hey, I don't want this, is there something you want removed? Is there something you guys want to have discussion about? Is there something you want raised? Do you want something decreased? Staff needs that recommendation to know that. And it's when one board member says it, that I have 7. So
Well, I did not come prepared to give my list, but I will have it at the 15th meeting, so that's when I'll bring up, or I'll tell you ahead of time. I'll call you with my list, but I did not bring a list prepared today, so.
When he sends that list, are you
I'll put
okay
it
with
to
it being
everybody, yeah.
forwarded into, I know you can't send it directly.
Can I not send it to the board?
No, you can send it to Alan,
I'll disseminate it.
and then he,
Just 15th, I think is the next meeting is when there'll be election. It'll be election day, the next meeting. So we're trying to get that done. But if there's answer or questions, that's the board's
It's
pleasure.
election.
will be right after our meeting on the 15th, and the next
Oh, will be the
would be
election.
the election.
Oh,
Because I think
okay,
we
I
have an
see.
extra week this month. We have an extra
Did they
week this
move that?
month.
Yeah.
And then I've told the board, and I'll remind them again, I will be gone I'll be out of town the first 3 days, and then I will be at leadership training that weekend and those 2 days. So Miss Christina will be the acting, so she will be presenting the budget. So I would like to be able to answer any questions before I leave and get you the answers you need.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I
Andy.
do have a concern if changes are going to be brought on October 15th, because then we wouldn't be able to vote on it that night, correct?
I'll send my list within the next 2 days.
Okay.
Just for the record, I talked to Director Wiles, I think yesterday briefly and last week, just about this meeting, and he said he had no questions. He was good with the budget the way it stood.
Thank you very much. So you will get that to Alan so that he can look at those and let the other directors know. Okay, thank you, Mark. Anyone else? Final summation? Any questions from you for this board? No? All right.
Well, we thought we might go a little longer. We got a little bit to eat. Get prepared for the board meeting.
All right, very good.
I will say, Madam
Yes,
Mayor,
Mindy?
you mentioned the step program. I wanted to discuss that. I do agree. That's not a discussion for this year. And I understand that there may be a couple of board
I
members.
said the step, but they didn't say the step.
They didn't say
I
the
said
step. Okay. But unfortunately, they weren't able to make it for our last regularly scheduled budget meeting, so I think it is going to have to be a discussion for later. So,
All right, with that, if I have no other questions or comments, then do I have a motion for us to adjourn this workshop?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. We are adjourned.